Joining us now is Clinton campaign senior strategist Joel Benenson. Joel, for the last 4 months, Clinton allies, people in the Clinton campaign have told us that FBI director made his determination about the Clinton server, and they've been using him to prove that that story is over and done with. Now it seems like the Clinton campaign is really going after the FBI director. Are people going to believe it, that switch in position?
Well, I think you had an intervening event here, John. The FBI director took an unprecedented action that we've seen in the last 24 to 48 hours. Former law enforcement officials, both Democratic and Republican, having served in administrations of presidents from either party, have said this is contrary to policy at the Department of Justice, the statement he put out on Friday, and is unprecedented, that you don't take actions within 60 days of an election. He did that, and now we need to get to the facts. And I think, in fairness, you can't compare what happened in June after a long and thorough investigation versus a statement that he put out, unprecedented, told his own employees in a letter, I didn't want to create any misleading impression here, but then that's exactly what he did. So the bottom line is we need to know the facts. We've called on him to release any information he had right away. But now it turns out, I think there's another news report that says he actually has no information, which makes this all very curious and very questionable. And I think that's why you see law enforcement and hear law enforcement professionals questioning what he did.
You know, it seems, though, that the strategy here from the Clinton campaign is to basically keep raising questions about him, keep pointing out that there's been criticism of him. That's something Donald Trump has been doing for the last 4 months. Is that really the conversation you want to have going into the closing end of this election?
Well, no. And in fact, we're going to have a closing election about what kind of country we're going to be. We're going to answer questions when they come up, as you just posed them to me. But I think what voters are talking about and thinking about now, and I think Anthony just mentioned this, is which of these two candidates is going to make this the kind of country we want to be? One where the economy works for people like them, not just those at the top. A person who really has the steadiness and what it takes to be commander-in-chief in a challenging world. Someone who knows how to work with our allies, as opposed to Donald Trump, who has threatened to abandon our NATO allies and called for more countries to have nuclear weapons. I think at the end of the day, that's what you're going to see. And the other thing that's important, and I think Anthony touched on this a moment ago, John, is we are seeing record turnout in the early vote. He mentioned North Carolina, Mecklenburg County yesterday alone, compared to 4 years ago, the same day, the Saturday, 9 days out from the election, the number of voters was up 16% over what President Obama turned out in 2012, and he carried that county by 34 points.
Joel, let me ask you one more question. You mentioned
Sure.
that this is unprecedented, what the FBI director did, but isn't that essentially a result of the unprecedented act that Hillary Clinton took by having an off-the-books server, by not being forthcoming, by deleting emails based on just whatever email she decided would be deleted? Isn't isn't this unprecedented movement because we're in an unprecedented case where a Secretary of State had her own home server?
Look, she's addressed this. Director Comey addressed it after a thorough investigation in June. What happened on Friday, we don't even know if it has any relevance. That's why we're saying, let's see the facts here. The action he took was unprecedented. He put out a statement to Congress, which he has no obligation whatsoever to do so, and probably no requirement under any circumstances. But then he said in a letter to his own employees, we have to avoid creating a misleading impression. He now, we know, has no facts. And he made a public statement about a potential inquiry. He has no information. He should put out all the facts he has, clarify this, and I think that's totally reasonable under the circumstances and the critique he's getting from other law enforcement professionals.